Joining us now, talk about all these issues, one of our favorites, Congressman Trey Gowdy from the great state of South Carolina. Congressman, great to talk to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm hanging in there. What a wild weekend. I always think Sunday's supposed to be a day of rest, Congressman, but this is for the last 55 days or so, or I should say the last year and a half or so. It's been Sundays are usually work days for us because there's always something going on. What's your take so far on this issue with the charge by Trump that the president had ordered a wiretap on Trump Tower?
Well, I wish my wife had let me look at my phone during church yesterday. I would be farther along in this process, but I'm playing catch up because it all seemed to happen yesterday morning. There are two ways, Laura, you're a better lawyer than I am. You know this. There are two ways that government can lawfully intercept oral communications. One's a Title III, which is a criminal inquiry. The other is FISA, which is a kind of an intelligence inquiry. The good news is there's a paper trail, there's a warrant, there's an application, there's judicial review, and right now the Justice Department is not controlled by President Obama. It's controlled by Jeff Sessions. We can discuss his recusal, but nonetheless, Trump controls the executive branch. So if there is something there, and there should be under Title III or FISA, we should have access to the application and the paper trail, and we'll be able to answer the question.
Well, one of the things that is, to me, relevant is the way that people phrase their denials. So much of what we've heard over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, is that, including from FBI Director Comey, is that the Justice Department did not, he's trying to get Justice to come out to say the FBI did not order a wiretap of Donald Trump. But we know for a fact, Congressman, that the intelligence services routinely surveil foreign agents working in the United States just as part of their job. And you don't blame them, whether it's the Russian ambassador. They all know they're being watched all the time. And it could be either information is scooped up in that process, and they would say it just happens to be collateral. We found this out when we were surveilling Kriliak, or when perhaps that they were surveilling associates of Trump outside of the official transition or campaign who would visit Trump Tower, or maybe even use communications at Trump Tower. There's all sorts of ways this could happen, and I would assume if Donald Trump is tweeting about this, he must know something beyond just reading something in Breitbart.
I would hope, given the fact he's the leader of the free world, I'm not a big Twitter person. It's hard for me to analyze issues in 140 characters.
Yeah, me too.
You're right. He does have access to information the rest of us do not have. Your question, implicit in your question, is something that the media doesn't want to talk about, or some parts of the media, and the Democrats don't want to talk about, which is, you're right, there are methodologies of surveillance and collection that are indispensable, in my judgment, to our country's national security. And you're never supposed to know about those methodologies, and you're never supposed to know the content of some of those communications because they never even result in criminal prosecutions. We know what we know in large part now because of an unauthorized leak of classified information. And I can't get the Democrats interested worth a damn in talking about the leaks. So you and I should not be having the conversation because we should not know that there is a transcript of a conversation between Flynn and anyone else. Mm-hmm. He's an American citizen. There are minimization procedures. There are masking procedures. And the fact that we know about it, frankly, Laura, is going to jeopardize our ability to reauthorize some of these programs. I would just say to the New York Times and others, congratulations. You continue to rely on the leak of classified information, which is unlawful. You are jeopardizing that you are relying on.
We're talking to Congressman Trey Gowdy. Another few minutes with him. Congressman, there's concern in conservative ranks about the Paul Ryan repeal and replace not being substantial enough, specifically in regard to the IPAB, otherwise known as the death panels, specifically about with the subsidies, the federal subsidies that Americans would get in order to buy health insurance. Rand Paul said that's just another, that's just more government money. One way or another, it's government money. What do you know so far? Because this is going to be the other big story of the week.
less than you do. As a washed-up former mediocre lawyer, I am on no committees of jurisdiction with respect to health care. And I have not been the beneficiary of a leaked draft. So I have no idea what Energy and Commerce is working on. I do believe at some point this week I'm going to have my first exposure to it. Laura, if you and I were starting all over again, we would have a much more transformative change to the delivery of health insurance and health care in this country. But we're a 50-50 country, and transformative change is difficult to achieve. So I do suspect the repeal piece will be less than what some conservatives would do if we were starting all over again. I say that. I haven't seen it. I may be very surprised. But there's very little conversation about personal responsibility. There's very little conversation about a shared citizenry and what we owe one another. What used to be conservative seems in some ways now to not be conservative. There's a blurring of lines. So I'm going to give them a chance to roll it out. I'm going to give them a chance to make the case. I'm going to give my friend Mark Meadows a chance to tell me why there's a better way. But I haven't seen any bill.
Let's talk just briefly. Only have about a minute left. So you're on oversight, government reform, ethics, and judiciary. Would your committees at all be involved in investigating any aspect of the allegation that the Obama people were surveilling the Trump team? Any aspect of it?
Yes, ma'am. I'm also on House Intel.
Okay, great. Of course, that's not on my list, but okay. Yeah, okay. House Intel. That's what I thought.
I just got on.
Okay. So you will be investigating this.
Law, because we're going to. This is a great way to say it. What did the Russians do? Who they do it with? What was our response? And the leaks. Those are the four things I'm interested in.
How about what Obama knew and when he knew it?
That would be what was our response. What did the Russians do? And part of that is what was our response? And that.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.